vast network of steel tracks, which you can see over here, stretching as far as I can see, both left and right, and they crisscross over the landscape in Hungary, unifying distant places but also facilitating trade. And we see here commodities traverse these pathways, covering the immense stretches of the Eurasian landmass, now becoming a vital part of the world economic engine. However, if we look to this system, like many others in our modern age, it's not without any issues. It has inefficiencies, it has environmental harm, and it has excessive energy usage. But now picture this. What if we had the power to change it all? Hi, I'm Ronald Van Loon, and today I'm going to take you on a journey through the heart of Hungary, where we are going to show the EWG Intermodal terminal. It's the gateway between the east and the west on what they call this here, the New Silk Road. Here where the standard gauge and the broad gauge railway tracks basically intersect. From this transformation is underway, and this is from Ukraine here to Hungary. On today's journey we will show the transformation which is brought to you in partnership with both Huawei and EWG. And this transformation is powered by 5G. Now, this promise to breathe new life into the rail rate transport section. It's unlocking this unprecedented efficiency and productivity. And let's continue this journey together and show you both the crane and other facilities over here. Let's continue the journey, and I will show you how this crane operates. So if we look here at the crane and we delve into the world of 5G and its revolutionary impact, we need to pause for a moment and understand what this basically means. 5G goes far beyond simply providing faster download speeds, and it holds the potential to fundamentally transform this industry and other industries, whether it's from healthcare, whether it's from education, whether it's from entertainment, but also of course the rail transportation. It's no exception. Now, today we will be focusing on the transformation and the potential in the context of the rail freight industry. It's a cornerstone for our global economy. Now picture this. High above the steel concrete of this rail terminal, a gantry crane operates with impressive precision. And this giant, once controlled manually from this cramped cabin on the top above the ground, is now operated remotely thanks to 5G. So it's an innovation that not only boosts the work efficiency but also the productivity, but it also of course ensures the safety of the workers. But the transformation is the power of 5G, and the power doesn't stop here. If you look around to this place, what you see here is EWG terminal, is a glimpse of what I can say is the future. 100 solar panel sensors which are deployed across the terminal, which is eco-friendly solution that reduces the operational cost by up to 40%. And these sensors are not just helping the rail industry to go green, but they are also driving the shift towards the sustainable practices in different industries worldwide. Now, as we navigate this ever-changing landscape of logistics, there are various challenges that the rail freight industry grapples with. Think about rising fuel costs, think about workforce constraints, think about increasing demand for faster, efficient deliveries. These are just a few of the type of challenges that they're facing. Now, how can 5G technology help address these issues and drive value, for example, for your organization? Now, let's continue the journey and let's have a look at the container unloading part. If you look to the container unloading, we're here at the operation room. It's very important, and let's dive deeper in what the value is of the mobile 5G private networks which we see operating over here. So how do we improve logistic efficiency, and how do you improve the work environment? Now, in recent years, if we have witnessed this surge in interest in 5G mobile private networks, or MPNs as they're called in the logistic industry. Why is that the case? Now, MPNs, they promise to bring enhance connectivity, and they promise to bring improved efficiency to the logistics operations by enabling this real-time data exchange, which you can see over here. Now, these networks can drastically improve the decision-making processes and streamline the operations. So every movement here is in real time showed and executed. Now take a moment and visualize the operation here, how it was before the introduction of 5G. If you look to efficiency rates, they hovered between 23 and 25 equivalent units, containers per hour. If we now move to fast forward today, the EWG Intermodal is the world's fastest crane, remoted, operated by 5G, and it operates up to 32 to 35 containers per hour, as you see over here, and that's a 20 to 30% increase. Now let that sink in, what kind of impact that has. Now, what about, for example, safety? What about error rates? Now, with this flexible deployment of the cameras across the terminal, so you can see every camera movement over here, they can zoom in, they can have every detail, and they can see it in real time, ensuring fewer accidents and much greater accuracy. And instant decisions are made to reroute the trains based upon the real-time conditions, operate the crane to up to a millimeter precision, which is a much better job than sitting in the crane at 30 meters high and at a temperature sometimes between 40 and 50 degrees. Now, then if we look from an ecological perspective, solar energy. If we look to the industry right now, it makes the industry greener. They have solar panels here for operating the cranes. Now, if we look to 5G, 5G is not just business and it's not just industries. It's also about people and it's about societies. And for decades, freight workers, they have faced this harsh work environments. And this is limiting the number of years they can work, maybe to their 50s, most of the time not even to their 60s. And it's hard to recruit people, especially in this area. And with 5G, this really changed. Workers no longer need to sit in their cranes for a day long. They just operate remotely from a comfortable, risk-free workstation like this over here. And as a result, the rail industry is really now attracting young workers. I think they believe the average working age is 26 over here, which is also not only young workers, but also a lot of women are attracted by this type of job. Now, with traditional operation restrictions, they basically become obsolete. And the rail industry is really welcoming women. Every industry is, of course, but if you look normally, there's not so many women over here. Now, how to optimize and how to drive innovation in the rail industry? Change isn't easy, and it certainly doesn't happen into some kind of vacuum. So it requires a collective effort of individuals, of communities and organizations to make this change happen. And for the true potential of 5G to be realized, it's essential for us to foster some kind of ecosystem of collaborative innovation. Now we have EWG, this project. This stands a testament, I think, in this fact. The project is not just about EWG, but it's combined with Huawei, who's the technology partner. And it's about the collective vision that they reshape the rail industry. Now, Huawei, a global leader in ICT solutions, has brought to the table its advanced 5G technology. So I'm here with Tamas, you're a Huawei expert. You basically set this up. So I really love to deep dive and understand what we see. You just explained it. So maybe we can start from what we see here on the outside and then talk about the operation room as a second part. But can you explain the cranes, how they're operating, how 5G is really bringing value and how it's changing basically the transport sector?
Okay. So welcome to Fényeslittke. I dare you pronounce it.
I don't.
It's a really great opportunity. Indeed, this is, I have to say that normally this is the most underdeveloped area of the country, and that's one of the reasons why I'm really, really proud of being here to have such a great thing. So what you see here is really the future of container logistics. This is a greenfield terminal, which means that essentially 2 years ago there was nothing here.
Yeah.
It is absolutely nothing. So all of these have been grown up here. So the founder and the CEO had a vision of having the highest efficiency and yet at the same time the most sustainable operation which is possible. So that's why in his vision he wanted to have remote controlled cranes, because this terminal is transshipping hazardous goods, so that not exposing the train operators to this one is essentially a big thing. So what you see around here is that we have no control facilities on any of the cranes. Everything is remotely controlled. The furthest crane from here is barely visible, is about 2 kilometers or slightly over 2 kilometers away from here, and still remotely controlled. And now what we see here exactly, so that, I mean, there are kind of rail mounted gantries in other container ports or container land ports as well. These are not really unique apart from being remotely controlled. They're very effective, very nice units, but this one is really special, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I always tell that 5G is not a solution, but it's an enabler, and this is a specific example of such. So this crane is you know, the original manufacturer, Kuhns, which is an Austrian company, calls them the free crane, but actually I call them the world's most expensive RC toy.
Yeah, yeah.
So the thing is that they don't have any cables whatsoever. They have a huge iron lithium battery pack, which is charged by solar energy, and they have a diesel backup generator for those times when sun is not really shining.
Today is sunny.
Luckily,
Yeah.
today we are running on solar energy
Yeah.
fully. And these are remotely controlled. This wouldn't be possible without 5G. So what we've done here, we actually installed a 5G private network. What it means that not only the radio resources, so that the antennas and base stations are dedicated to this purpose, but we have a 5G core dedicated on site, which is remotely managed by a network operator, but all the data which is generated here stays here. Now, why it is important?
Security.
That's your part.
Yeah.
Security is obvious, but actually latency is even more important,
Mm-hmm.
right? So latency in terms of delay of controlling these cranes is very, very important.
You mean the data at the crane? Okay. I thought in the private network you were talking about.
Yeah, the private network itself,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
this is also because of the private network. So that traditionally, if you have a an operator network, all the data is going through the whole operator network, coming back through a managed lease line or a VPN. But here, all the data which is generated by these communicated to the radio sites, the base stations, let's put it that way, and then to the local core, making the latency, the return efficiency very, very short. So this way, we can make it very intuitive, very reliable, up to 4 nines reliability, and a great efficiency.
Yeah, you were talking about the latency of 5 milliseconds, something like that, and if you compare it to braking with your car,
Oh yeah,
it was
actually our average latency is 8 milliseconds,
Yeah.
and the guaranteed low latency means that 99.99% of the packages are arriving within 20 milliseconds. So 8 milliseconds and 20. Compare it to your average human perception. When you see a brake light in front of you, your reaction time is usually around 100 milliseconds. So this is essentially, even the longest ones are 1/5 of that one. That's required to remotely drive the cranes.
And you see in the operating room how accurately they can operate it almost up to the millimeter with some support. It's insane, and that's only possible because of this low latency.
Exactly, this low latency, and also because of the high uplink bandwidth. So traditionally when we talk about 5G, we perceive the downlink speed, right?
Yeah.
So we consume YouTube on our phones,
Yeah.
so we download high speed. But actually, these have 26 HD cameras continuously streamed up there, real time, reacting to that and sending the control signals
We
back.
were standing there and we could see everybody who's standing here, what they were drinking
Yeah.
or what they were doing.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is actually, we generate YouTube here and
Yeah.
send all the camera or images up there.
Yeah. And if you look from, let's say, the transformation that we see over here, now we talk about 5G, we talk about the latency, but in general it's a much broader transformation what you see from people that are working here, much younger people. It's not the crane operators who's sitting there on top sweating with this type of
Yeah.
weather. They can't go down. It's, let's say, the increase in productivity. can you tell more about the transformation, what you see in transport world and what we envision in other worlds, industrial worlds as well?
Absolutely. So first of all, as I said, it's only the first case of like, even here locally, the first use case of remotely controlling the cranes.
Yeah.
But also the same 5G network, without changing any of the infrastructure, can be used for remotely controlling or automatically self-driving. I mean, convert to self-driving trucks or other equipments on site, so that further enhance the capabilities. I think the socio-economical impact of such an investment is also huge. But you've seen inside that the whole thing is operating with very young, talented people, so that the average age is around 26 years on site, including the CEO, who is 66, by the way. So that it is really important that such an investment can bring back young talent to such even an underdeveloped area of a country just like this. You also see that there are many female workers here, yeah. So that traditionally transport industry is not really a sexy thing. It's usually a dusty, heavy machinery operation stuff. But here, there are a lot of female operators here also. But more broadly, I think digitization is bringing a lot of benefits, not only in terms of like efficiency of like value generation or money generation, but also in this type of subtle differences. Think about it. This terminal is operated by roughly 100 persons. Traditionally, such a capacity terminal would require at least 2 times this amount of people. But what it also means that these people, these 100 which is working here, can be paid very, very well. Yeah. And think about this, that these 100 people means 100 families. This area, this Fényeslitka, the town where we are, the total population is 2,500. Right. Essentially, 100 families, roughly like 400 people, 1/5 of the total population of this is working here.
Changing the area.
Changing local economy, the capabilities, the, everything around it.
Tamas, thanks a lot. Yeah, it's a great explanation. I definitely couldn't do better. And I continue the tour and show everything what we see.
Yeah, let's get inside and show what's inside. So, perfect. Let's get on.
All right. Tamas, we see here the digital representation of the whole facility.
Yep.
The digital twin.
It is.
It sounds nice, but can you explain what it means and what kind of impact it has for this facility?
Sure. So this digital twin has been developed by a local Hungarian company, and this contains all the information which has been collected from the whole site. So it is one, let's say, umbrella system, which is making sure that all the information which is coming from the different systems and sensors and devices and everything is coming into one single solution, so that this digital twin is usable from every part of the terminal and makes a unified controlling platform for everything. So this one helps, to coordinate between different workloads. So security, railway operations, logistics, customs, crane operations are working from the same system, and they don't have to align certain things and do, stuff. That this is making sure that everyone understands and does everything. Plus, on top of it, it has a lot of automation, AI applications, which are, making sure that the parameter controls are working, so that, this site has over 300 cameras. The security operators doesn't have to see like 300 cameras all around and losing, the whole point of the thing. But AI is marking those things which are important, creating not only alarms, but also making sure that these are dispatched to and worked through.
And actions can be taken.
Absolutely, not only can taken, but actually it should be taken, so that the system controls that whether there's something alarm going on, then the action has been done, so it follows up on those things. And in many cases, it prevents it, so that when they see someone, wandering into one of our nice journalists is going into the area without protective equipment, yeah. Even before they would get in there, they would be helped with, with the equipment or kind of guidance. Also, in many other ways. For example, you see the red boxes on, yeah. On the stuff. It's kind of contraindication. So it means that the cranes are in their safe and locked position, so that any other transport movements can be done. So that, yeah. For example, again, this is coordinating between railway operations. Railway can be only operated once the cranes are fixed and secured in their locations, and then everything is automatically done. Vice versa, as long as the railway operation is ongoing, the cranes are not operable. So that this gives a high level of security and health and safety measures to this board.
Yeah, and one advantage is the real-time information and creating alerts, start predicting, but also that you can run a digital twin, which they showed me today, before you start actually executing a certain scenario. So you can run a digital scenario before you start executing it. It's basically running a plant before you build the plant.
Imagine that, that this investment has been planned from 2019. The very first physical implementation has started a bit later, and this was officially inaugurated in October. But already 3 years ago, they've been able to not predict, but actually physically model what will be the throughput of the terminal and how to optimize even the routes inside and how to do stuff. So also it helps that, once the trucks and trains are scanned when they are entering, by the time they stop at their location, the system has a 3D representation of the whole train and makes sure that the operators are loading everything with the highest efficiency, that the least amount of work in a way.
And how much faster were they able, by running this digitally before they started building it, to set up this whole facility over here? I think it did 2 years.
The whole implementation was 14 months.
Only 14
Only
months.
14 months, but that's enabled by modeling, planning, carefully doing everything before. Also, just think about it. Traditionally, I don't really have real measures for other land ports, but seaports in. I don't say names, I don't want to put anyone to shame, but in seaports, usually containers are touched like 7 to 8 times during the transportation process. You've seen here that even the terminal layout is built in a way that most of the containers, which are just transshipped from wide gauge to narrow or the other way around, touched one single time. Yeah. So this is a really huge improvement. I teach also industry digitization. Usually when we talk about digital twin, we are talking about putting sensors on few things, modeling stuff, and try to predict when will they break. This digital twin is actually the other way around as well. We have designed everything digitally and delivered the physical impact. And later on, when, for example, they will have the automated terminal tractors, which are transporting the containers on site, actually that will be a physical representation of a digital twin. Isn't it exciting?
Yeah, it's amazing, and I have a data analytics background. Once you have the data, and you have the data properly, what you have here, even in a 3D representation, the possibilities are endless.
Absolutely.
But 5G is the enabler. Without this 5G, you don't have the data, and you cannot enable it.
Absolutely, as we discussed earlier, that 5G provides an underlying connectivity layer everywhere, all around these parameters. In the warehouse, it's an indoor 5G. Outdoors, we also have a full 5G coverage so that you can run any type of service. And you can create the service classes which are supporting it. If you need a streaming type of service, like for video app, you have the service class. If you have a non-data package loss, a very strict security stuff, you can create different layers and the technology can serve it. Especially, it's very important for brownfield digitization. So this is a greenfield operation, very, very nice. Everything has been designed from ground up. But imagine an already existing terminal, stopping the operation, digging up the terminal, laying cables, and trying to digitize things, not gonna work. No. So I think this is the best way to show what are the benefits of such technology.
Yeah, and the transformation it basically brings.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
We're going to the final section.
And we're going to the final section.
Yeah. Now it's the collaboration between Huawei, EWG and other type of partners that has made this digital transformation here of the rail freight in Hungary beyond basically possible, I think. Such a collaboration efforts that 5G can bring the transformative force that propels industries in Europe, but also outside of Europe, of course. Now, let's take a sneak preview into the future. It's important to note that the path to 5G adoption is not without challenges. So from the investment required to set up 5G, the infrastructure, to the need for regulatory reforms to facilitate its deployment, there are also numerous type of hurdles that need to be overcome, which is a challenge. However, the benefit that 5G brings to the table outweighs these type of challenges. And as we look forward, it is clear that 5G will play a pivotal role in the shaping of the future of the rail freight industry. So it's not just about faster speeds, not about greater capacity, but about creating a smarter, more connected and more sustainable world. Now, in an era where climate change is at the forefront of global discussions, the role of 5G in promoting sustainable practices in the rail freight industry cannot be overstated. Now, by enabling smarter operations, reducing waste and promoting energy efficiency, 5G has the potential to help industries reduce its carbon footprint and to contribute a greener future, which is key for our sustainable world. Now, with 5G networks becoming more pervasive, the ripple effects will be felt across any type of sector, from healthcare to education to entertainment and of course to transportation, what we have seen here today. So, what does the road ahead look like? While the progress made so far is quite impressive, there's still a long way to go. For 5G to truly transform the rail freight industry, we need widespread adoption across the globe, across any industry, and you need to help with this. This requires significant investment, policy reforms and collaboration between various stakeholders, including you. However, the potential benefits of 5G make it a worthwhile endeavor. By enhancing connectivity, improving efficiency and promoting sustainability, 5G has the potential to revolutionize the rail freight industry and contribute to a greener, more connected world. Now, let's continue our journey together. I need your help. And with your help, we can change the industry, this industry to a better world. As we wrap up our journey through EWG Intermodal Terminal, we marvel at the transformative power of 5G technology, its impact on the rail industry, enhanced productivity, greener practices, but also new employment opportunities, as we've seen here with all these young people, and this is undeniable. We've just scratched the surface from what's possible with 5G. Now, there's much more to explore. It's your turn now. You need to help us. Join us, engage us in this journey of discovery and be part of this global community, witnessing the next big leap in our intelligent, connected world. I'm Ronald Van Loon. Thank you for joining us today. This is the Intelligent World from Hungary, EWG Terminal. This is the intelligent, connected world, 5G world. Thank you for watching and we see you next time.